I might have to go to the theme song that keeps up. Well, hello everybody. Yes, it's your good friend Pozzible here. And you know, today I think the real term of the day for this particular movie that we're about to review is a term better known as word association. Like, for example, when I think of myself, what are some things I think of? Well, I can have some negative words that I can say about myself. Wannabe, loser, somebody who's doing something that more professional people are paid for to do, stuff like that. But then there are other more positive words I think of myself. Self-made, self-directing, power, and of course, hero. And what makes me a hero, you may ask? Well, that's very easy to say. I get to review movies that I have seen that you don't have to see, because I can warn you against them and tell you to stay away from movies like Don't Go in the Woods Alone. As a matter of fact, don't see this movie alone. As a matter of fact, don't see this movie with a friend. Don't see this movie with a family member. Don't see this movie in a group. So just don't see this movie, period. Don't Go in the Woods Alone has got to be the worst rendition of the slasher films you could ever imagine, period, bar none. Don't get me wrong, they have a following. You know, there are people who actually found some of the quote-unquote humor, if you can call it that, funny. And there are people who have also found the, story scary. Because basically, what's happening? Well, I hate to say this, because you might be wondering, gee, Pozzible, are you reviewing something or just repeating something we already know? Sorry, I have to say this. It's a movie about a group of people who go into the woods, and there's a killer in the woods slaughtering everyone else. And when I say everyone else, I mean everyone else in the extraordinarily random sense that this movie is made from. This movie should not just be barred because it's bad acting, bad writing, bad directing, bad effects, and bad whatever else you can think of. This movie should be barred by the simple fact that it just didn't know what it was doing. I mean, literally, you brought people in to the movie, somewhat offensively sometimes, and I'm not talking about offensively as a person, I'm talking about offensively as a human being, as a person of intelligence. You would be offended, and then you just slaughtered them right then and there. You had these 4 people, and you could not wait for the killer to slaughter them. Literally, it took so long for this guy to get to them. I was shocked. But it didn't stop him from killing everyone else. You see this lady in the front. If you're wondering who this lady is and why she's on the front cover, don't ask. We don't know, because she didn't have a single line of dialogue in the entire movie. And she was only on it for less than 5 minutes. I am not kidding. Alright? Don't Go in the Woods Alone is one of those cheap wannabes that says, hey, we got a budget, let's just throw things together and let's just get our friends to do the acting for us. We don't need talent. We don't need a script. We don't need a point. We don't need a plot. We don't need anything but just to sit back and, oh, let's try this because this sounds funny. I'll tell you the only thing that is funny, okay? In the movie, there's a guy in a wheelchair. Okay, he comes near the end. This is not a spoiler because this doesn't happen in the movie. This happens outside the movie. The guy who was in that wheelchair, he actually went to see the movie, and he was laughing during his scenes. And this one lady looks behind him and says, don't laugh. What if that was you in that wheelchair? Well, it made him laugh even harder because that was him in the wheelchair. I will say this about Don't Go in the Woods Alone. If you can find it on DVD, there's an interesting documentary about how it was made and what was going on. That's the best part of the movie, believe me. Okay, it's not the movie itself, but the behind-the-scenes documentary of the movie. That's what everybody loved. This is a pass, people. If you ever want to waste your time, I don't think there's enough alcohol in the world that can make you appreciate this movie. So skip it. Believe me, I'm doing you a favor. I'm your hero after all. Alright guys, that's it for right now. We'll catch you next time.